Here's a number most people have never actually sat down and calculated. The average American commuter is spending somewhere between $10,000 and $20,000 every single year just to get to work and back. Not on rent, not on food, on the commute. And when you factor in the time cost on top of the money, the hours you'll never get back, that number can push past $30,000 for heavy commuters in major cities. That's not a car payment. That's not a vacation. That is an investment portfolio you are handing to the road every year without even realizing it. And today we're going to break it all down, run the real math, and show you exactly what your commute is costing you. Because once you see this number, you cannot unsee it. Let's start with the obvious costs, because even those are more than most people think. If you're driving to work, you've got gas. The average American drives about 30 miles round trip per day. At current gas prices and average fuel economy, that alone runs between $2,500 and $4,000 per year, depending on your vehicle and where you live. But gas is just the beginning. Car depreciation is the big one nobody tracks. The IRS actually pegs the full cost of driving a personal vehicle at 67 cents per mile when you account for depreciation, insurance, maintenance, and fuel. At 30 miles a day, 250 working days a year, that's 7,500 miles of commuting, which comes out to $5 through $25 per year just in vehicle wear and cost. That's before you touch tolls, parking, or anything else. Add $2,200 a year in tolls. For a typical urban commuter, another $5,100 to $3,000 in parking if you're not lucky enough to have it covered. And you're already staring at $7,700 to $10,000 before we even get to the hidden stuff. The hidden commute costs are where it really starts to hurt. When you work in an office, you buy more work clothes, dry cleaning, business casual shoes that wear out twice as fast as sneakers. The average office worker spends $500 to $1,500 a year more on clothing than someone working from home full-time. Then there's lunch. When you're in the office, you're buying lunch more, either from the cafeteria, the food truck, or the spot 3 blocks away. Studies consistently show that office workers spend an average of $11 per lunch versus $3 to $4 when working from home. That gap over 250 working days is $1,650 a year. Add $600 a year in coffee runs because you're up early and exhausted and the office coffee is terrible. Add the energy drinks at 3 p.m. Add the convenience store stops because you're running late and didn't have time to pack anything. When you total everything, transportation, parking, tolls, clothes, food, coffee, a realistic all-in commute cost for the average American sits between $12,000 and $18,000 per year. For people in high-cost metros with parking and tolls, it's higher. But here's the part that should actually keep you up at night. And I mean that in the most financially motivating way possible. The time cost. Let's say your commute is 45 minutes each way. That's 1.5 hours a day, 250 days a year, which equals 375 hours per year, sitting in traffic or on a train. Now let's assign a dollar value to that time. If you earn $60,000 a year and work 2,000 hours, your time is worth $30 per hour. Those 375 commute hours represent $1,150 worth of your time, gone, every year. If you earn more, the number is worse. At $100,000 a year, $50 an hour, that same commute costs you $18,750 in time value annually. And this isn't just a philosophical exercise. That's time you could have spent on a side hustle, on building a skill, on working extra hours for a promotion, on sleeping better, so you actually perform at work. The commute isn't neutral time. It's subtracted from the most productive hours of your day. Now let's compound it, because this is where it becomes a true wealth conversation. Let's say your all-in commute cost, money plus time value, is $15,000 per year. What if instead of spending that, you invested it? At an 8% average annual return, which is a conservative long-term stock market expectation, $15,000 per year invested for 10 years grows to approximately $217,000. Over 20 years, that number is $687,000, nearly $700,000. From your commute budget alone. That's not a fantasy retirement scenario. That's the exact math of what you are giving up every single year you sit in that car instead of finding a better arrangement. When people talk about building wealth, They talk about cutting lattes and maxing 401ks. Nobody tells you that the single biggest drain on your financial future might be your morning drive. Now let's talk about the health cost, because this one has real dollar consequences too. Research published in multiple peer-reviewed journals shows that commutes longer than 30 minutes are consistently associated with higher blood pressure, higher body weight, worse sleep quality, and increased rates of anxiety and depression. Long commuters take more sick days. They report lower job satisfaction. They have higher rates of burnout. And here's the financial translation. The average American spends more than $400 per year in out-of-pocket healthcare costs. But chronic stress-related conditions dramatically increase that number over time. High blood pressure medication, therapy, sleep aids. The stress tax of commuting isn't just about feeling bad. It literally costs you money in healthcare spending, and it costs you money in the productivity you lose from not sleeping and not recovering. So what do you actually do with all of this? The first and most underused move is negotiation. Most people don't realize that your commute cost is a legitimate compensation argument. If you have quantified proof that your commute is costing you $15,000 a year, and your employer expects you in the office 5 days a week, that is part of your total compensation conversation. Going to your manager and saying, "I'd like to discuss a hybrid schedule, here's my commute data, and here's what I'm proposing," is a more grounded conversation than just asking for a raise. 2 remote days per week cuts your annual commute cost by 40%. That is $6,000 in your pocket with zero career risk if you frame it correctly. If you're a heavy driver, the carpool math is worth running too. Splitting commute costs with one other person effectively cuts your annual driving expenses in half. That's $3,000 to $5,000 back in your pocket per year. And it also cuts your depreciation and maintenance costs proportionally. Public transit is another option worth actually calculating instead of dismissing. In many cities, a monthly transit pass runs $100 to $150. That's $200 to $800 per year versus $12,000 to $18,000 in an all-in driving calculation. The math strongly favors public transit in dense urban areas, and many employers offer pre-tax transit benefits that reduce that cost even further. Let's also address the electric vehicle question, because a lot of heavy commuters are being told an EV will solve their cost problem. The honest answer is, it helps, but it's not the silver bullet people think. Electricity costs roughly 3 to 4 cents per mile versus 10 to 14 cents per mile for gasoline. On 7,500 commute miles per year, that's a fuel savings of around $500 to $800 annually. Real but modest. Where the calculation gets complicated is the vehicle purchase premium. EVs typically cost $10,000 to $15,000 more than equivalent gas vehicles. At $700 per year in fuel savings, it takes 14 to 21 years just to break even on the purchase premium. And that's before accounting for charging infrastructure, battery replacement costs down the road, or the opportunity cost of that extra capital. EVs make financial sense if you were already buying a new vehicle anyway, or if your employer offers free charging. They don't magically solve the commute cost problem. The most powerful lever, and the one almost nobody runs the numbers on, is location. If you're paying $2,500 more per month to live in a suburb that requires a 60-minute commute each way versus living closer and paying $1,800 more per month in rent, but only commuting 15 minutes, the math on the commute savings may fully offset the rent difference. This is a calculation worth actually running before you sign any lease or mortgage. The move that looks more expensive on paper is sometimes the cheaper financial decision when you factor in total transportation cost, time, and quality of life. Here's what this all comes down to. Your commute is a lifestyle tax that compounds against you every single year you don't address it. Most people think about their car payment and their gas receipts, and they think that's the cost of getting to work. But the real number, when you add time value, vehicle costs, food, clothing, health, and compound opportunity cost, can easily exceed $25,000 to $30,000 per year for a long-haul commuter. That is a second rent payment. That is a full year of college tuition. That is the difference between retiring at 62 and retiring at 55. The first step is calculating your actual number. Not a rough guess, your real, specific, all-in number. Write it down. And then ask yourself whether this is truly the best allocation of the most valuable resources you have: your time, your money, and your energy. If this video hit different, drop a comment below with your commute time and what you calculated it's costing you per year. I guarantee the number surprises you. Hit like if this opened your eyes, and subscribe. Because every week we break down the money conversations that actually move the needle. I'll see you in the next one.